We want to thank everyone for joining us again for our 2018 Marathon MAC Football Championship game pregame press conference. And again, we want to welcome our West Division champion Northern Illinois Huskies, and obviously head coach Rod Carey, defensive end Sutton Smith, and also offensive tackle Max Sharpring. Gentlemen, congratulations on a wonderful season. We'll let Coach Carey open with an opening statement.
Yeah, obviously we're excited to be back. We look forward to the game. Travel was good. It's familiar surroundings. All those things are positives. And we're excited about the game. And we have a great opponent in Buffalo. When you get to a championship game, it's what you expect, and we certainly have it in a fantastic team. So with that, do you want to do questions, Ken?
We'll take questions from the audience. Again, just raise your hand. We'll get the microphone over to you for questions, okay?
Coach, you mentioned the familiar surroundings. Have you approached this week differently than years past?
No, we have not. Actually, the schedule's been very similar. The only difference on the schedules is when we get done with our season. This year we got done on Tuesday. Some years we've gotten done on Friday. We played in this game, so a little difference on the front end, but certainly had this schedule before. So kind of was good to get back into a routine after the end of the year with a 5-game, a 6-game, 1 7-day, and then another 6-day turnaround, excuse me. So it was good. It was good.
Ron, on the list of all the genius moves you've made in your head coaching career,
that'd be a short list, wouldn't
where
it?
does switching Sutton from offense to defense rank?
Well, I mean, most of the credit has to go to him because, listen, and he can speak to this too. I don't know that he was really happy about the move to defensive end in the beginning. And I know certainly Max has not been happy in practice about it. Those two going against each other. It's a good battle to see. But, the credit has to go to him because you can make a move all you want as a coach, but if he doesn't embrace it the way he did, then it doesn't work. So we needed a pass rusher, and we certainly found one.
I realize this is old news for you, but not for the America.
No, yeah.
But the story was that he made the play tracking down the guy who had fumbled the ball and walloped him, and so did the light just go on there, or had you been thinking about it?
Well, I mean, so my defensive coordinator at the time and I were recruiting him, and there was a little bit of a behind-the-scenes battle that Sutton didn't even know about going on beforehand. And I said, no, we're going to bring him in a running back. I think he can play there, and he's fast. Well, in that play, it wasn't just that he went down and tackled him. It's how fast he did it. That really, I was like, yeah. And we had a need for some defense. And our D coordinator at the time wanted to move him to linebacker. So I said, yeah, I think he can play defense. And so we put him out of linebacker for a little bit. And then the last part, bringing him defensive end, I didn't tell Coach Dearson, our D-line coach at the time, or Coach Kane. I just went up and told Sutton go down with the defensive line. And he did, and then neither of those guys were real happy with me until we got the team, and he went in, and he did some good things. Obviously, that day against, I think it was, I don't know, might have been our one offensive line, might have been Levon Myers out there. But he ran around a couple times, and then that was about the end of it. So it was interesting times, right?
Yeah.
So, Sutton, again, could you talk just quickly, your reaction? Were you stunned, or were you happy, or you're switching from running back?
Well, the first initial move, I was kind of just I was taken off guard at first, but whenever I had a conversation with my father, and, this game's not about individual players, so my dad really basically told me just, hey, you're a team player. Do whatever they need you to do. And you've always been like that in years past, even in high school. So just go do your thing and, just try to execute plays out there. And that's really it.
Your best 225 reps is a 29 still? I realize you don't.
They stopped me, but yeah.
29. And then what was, 2016 on the field? You didn't do much. A lot.
That was the year we moved him.
Right, yeah. So why did the light go on? What happened that caused the light to go on the next?
Really, practices, I was doing a lot of these things that I was doing in the games, but, obviously I was like third string, behind some really good pass rushers in years previous. But then I finally got to, go into spring ball and 2017 spring ball, and, so kind of just try to solidify my spot. And, I had to get bigger. That was one thing that I needed to do, because that first year I was maybe 210 pounds.
Maybe.
Yeah, soaking wet. And then during spring ball at 17, I was right at 220, 224, 220 range. And then I knew over the summer going into that season, I just sustained that weight. So, but it was a big move. I mean, I've never thought I would ever play defensive end in college, just because of my stature, my looks, and everything like that. But, funny thing, actually, in Pee Wee, I actually played defensive end, the exact same thing. So it was actually kind of funny. My dad related that back to me, so it was really funny.
Full circle.
Oh, my weight now is 235 season weight. But before season, I was 242 to 238.
Rod, you've known Lance Leipold for a long time.
Yeah.
You guys go ways back. When you knew him years ago working in Wisconsin together, what did you see that, would make him a successful coach, not just at the FBS level, but overall?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think sometimes that gets overblown. If you're a good football coach, you're a good football coach. So he was leaving for Nebraska. I was interviewing at UNO, Nebraska when they had a football program. And then I stayed at Stout, and then as I was leaving Stout, he came into Whitewater. So, paths have certainly run parallel, and maybe just missing a little bit, but certainly have X and O'd through the course of the years together. He was at Whitewater, used to come down to NIU and visit and what have you. So as far as what makes him a good football coach, level doesn't matter. When you can coach, you can coach. And I know there's always a question about recruitment, but believe me, from being in the Wisconsin League, you have to recruit. That's where we all cut our teeth recruiting. And that, I believe, is some of the hardest recruiting that's out there, because you're selling your institution and yourself without a scholarship. And so I didn't think there would ever be a doubt that Lance would be successful. He has good football players now that he's recruited, and he can coach. So a lot of respect for him.
Right. And I guess in specific, when you look at UB, you've faced in the past couple of years, you haven't faced until today, but what did you see change about Buffalo under Lance Leipold? Whether it was philosophically or physically or athletically.
Are you talking about in my time here?
Yeah.
Well, we played against Khalil Mack, and we had to run the other way the entire day. We ran at him twice. He had 2 TFLs, so we didn't do that anymore. But he was the one on the field that you had to understand that you had to do that with. And no disrespect to Coach Quinn before, but there were some other things that we could do, back then. And, Lance, he's been successful, and now you see a complete team where it's not just one person that you have to run away. Now, obviously, Khalil Mack was special, but they have some really good football players on their team now, but they're all over. And I think that that's one of the big differences.
Max, for you in your senior year here, obviously, what type of leadership have you shared with the team, or perhaps some of the younger players, about being in here and in this position, preparing for a championship game?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just about going about it like any other week. It's a big week for us, but it's the same preparation that you go through with any other game, because that's what it is. It's still just, you have 1 week to prepare for a game, to prepare for a good team, and it's a conference opponent. It's who we want to play. This is a game we want to play in all year, so it's just about being getting in the film room and preparing yourself on the field.
Coaches, for you and Sutton, what do you guys hope to do to sort of neutralize the Buffalo offense?
Well, listen, we just, and I think everybody does this, I'm probably more vocal about it than anybody, is you have to run the ball, stop the run, win the turnover battle, and win the kicking game. And so when I say that, even when you're playing a team that's as balanced as them, you can't let them be balanced. And there's no secret to that. You have to run the ball and stop the run. And then if you can get them into predictable passing situations, then you can call defenses according to that and try to get pressure on the quarterback from there. So it really starts up front on both the matchups, our offense, their defense, and their offense, our defense.
For Sutton and Max, your non-conference schedule of playing at BYU, at Florida State, at Iowa, and a home game against Utah, how has that prepared you for the success you've had this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously those are all fantastic teams that we've played throughout the non-conference. So that it helps being that, we know we've played with those teams, but it's also, this is a different team from those teams. It's completely different. This is a quality opponent either way you look at it. I mean, they're a great team. So it's nice knowing that we've played those teams and we're prepared to play a quality team like that, but it's still, it's a different team here. So
Yeah, I think that all the teams we played previously that were Power 5 and what have not is prepared us for this moment. I mean, this team's a really good team, whether you look at it in instance of offensive play or defensive play. They're a sound football team. So we played a lot of sound football teams in the past. So I think we're going to try to go in there and execute as we can. I mean, they're a great football team. So
what is the biggest challenge that this Buffalo team is going to pose to your team?
me.
You want the guys?
Everybody.
Well, I mean, I can speak to it. Is they're a well-rounded team? I mean, there isn't a glaring weakness. That's the thing that you see, from their offensive balance to their defensive statistics to their kicking game statistics, and then the film matches the statistics. And sometimes that isn't the case with opponents, but this team certainly does. Is they're balanced throughout all three phases.
Sutton, for a conference, it's known for action, throwing the ball around, offense, to win. MVP, Vern Smith, what's it mean for you to do it on the defensive end and be the best in the MAC?
Oh, man. Very humbling, really, actually. So I give a lot of credit to a lot of the guys on my team because they've sculpted me into a personality and a type of man that, I don't think I would have ever become without those guys, nor a football player. I got a great group of guys on this team, and, if the guy next to me is not doing what he's doing, I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do to execute my job. And, I give a lot of credit to our D-line. And, it's just everything goes out to all the coaches, the trainers, everybody. Everybody had a part in it, so it wasn't just me. I mean, it's a great award, but it goes to everybody.
So going off that, you guys have gone against each other in practice the last couple of years. Put you on the spot. What's the best part of his game, and what's the best part of his game?
You want me to go first? Sure. So I think I've spoken about this a couple times with Sutton in the room. The answer hasn't changed. It's really two things. One, obviously everyone knows he's fast. Off the edge, I don't know if I've faced anyone faster than him. And it's a credit to the work he's put into timing the snap, his first step is always good, and his hands are really good around the edge. So it's hard to run him by. But the second thing is what makes him a step better than most defensive linemen, puts him on another level. It's just that he's relentless in his effort. Because sometimes guys, if you put your hands on them, they'll just stop. And Sutton never does that. It doesn't matter if you try and run him by, he'll spin back inside. Every time you maybe beat him one rep, he's coming back the next one to knowing what you just did and countering it. So, it's really those two things, and especially the second one, he's just relentless in his effort.
With Max, he's an amazing offensive tackle. The man's super smart. I don't know. We were just talking about school, like in the car right over here, and this man's a genius. So obviously he picks up on my tendencies really, really quick. And every move that I try to do, and his feet are just phenomenal. I mean, if I try to shake him any which way, his feet are just constantly moving and resetting, and his hand work is just amazing. The placement where he puts it, I always have to keep looking at the film because he changes pinpoints on where he puts his hands at. Because if he starts placing in the same place, I get used to that, and it's going to make my job easier to get a move on him and everything like that. So he's a good athlete for how big this man is. So he also is relentless. The man never takes a play off. I've never seen a play where this man's ever taken a play off. And whenever I get a chance to watch him in the game, I just see him torquing people. I'm just like, Good God. So I feel bad for the guys that he's got to go up against, because he's gonna ruin their life. So so he's a great football player.
Coach over here, you guys started 1-3, and now you're in the championship game again.
Yep.
What would you tell your guys after that third loss to keep the composure and keep them motivated?
Well, I mean, we didn't look at it as an entire season. We went week by week, and we did that the entire year, and obviously ended out with, we've been in close ball games all year, and that didn't change when we were 1-3 or when we won 6 in a row, and then the last 2 that we dropped by a total of 13 points. And you take each game as it comes, and you expect it to be a 4-quarter battle, and that's really how we attacked it. I didn't have to give them some big speech. We jumped in and out of conference play because of the schedule, and then we had short weeks in there too. So we just, whatever was presented to us, and it's a credit to these guys. Whatever was put in front of us, they didn't flinch, they didn't gripe, they didn't complain. They just attacked it.
Well, for Rod and for Sutton and Max, thank you for your time. We appreciate you being here. Congratulations on your season, and we want to wish you the best of luck tomorrow night.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.